Welcome to Cubing Connor. Today I'll show you how to solve a 2x2. So first, find you want a bar with blue, white on it. It should look like blue and white on it, and put white on the bottom. So to solve it, find a bar and then put it in the back right, and then move the other piece up to the top left corner or opposite of the cube with common sense. So if it's here with white facing bottom, that means this is solved. If it's in the back, that means just do an L2. U2, you do an U2 if it's in the back. If it's in the front, like where it's not corrected, you just do an U2. So I'll show you the three cases you can get by solving this. So first is the case where it's facing you, the white is facing you. To do this, you just do U prime or U prime and then F. If it's facing left, you just do R, U prime, R prime. You can just watch my fingers if you're questioning. If it's facing up, you would just do F2. And then you would solve this. Then next, you would put this in the left, and then you would solve the next bar. For the easiest way to solve these bars is if the white's on top. All white stickers are on top. So if one piece is on the bottom and you can't figure out how to put it back up without breaking this piece, just put it on top. Make sure it's not next to it. Make sure it's not next to the white piece, so it's opposite. Put it in the top, and then move it to the back, and then just solve it. But that might not work, because what about this case? Diagonal, and then well, if it's this case, then it's just one move, because it's only not going to work if it's facing if it's facing away from the left side, where it's not going to work. If it's facing down, or is it facing to the front in this case, in the front right, or in the back right. If it's facing this, it's always going to be a one move. It's always going to be one move to go on the top, no matter what will happen. So this is an easy case. But what about this case? This will not be an easy case for most beginners. But so you would just solve one piece like this. So you would move it to the top, move it to the other side on the right side, and then solve it. And then for this move, you would just do it something like this. Because it's in the back, and remember, rules is that if it's facing down, if it's facing down on the bottom side, it's guaranteed. Or if it's facing these pieces, if it's facing front, up, back, or down, it's always going to be an easy case. So next, but what about if it's not solved on the top? That's the question. So if it's any of these cases where it's you put it here and then just do that. What if there's a solved piece? What if there's a solved piece behind it? You see, like this. Well, just do a U prime, and then that will avoid breaking that piece. But what if it's facing up? Well, it's solved. And then what about if it's facing this side? Well, you would just do that. Because what if it's facing these four pieces? Well, you just put in the back and then do an R prime to solve it. And then if there's something like this, I'm confused. Okay. If it's like this, you would do the same thing, where you just or you would just put it to the side and then put this back. It's this opposite of what we do. So after you complete that step, you would get something with the bar to. What if you would still be kind of confused if you don't, because it could be a diagonal. For diagonal, make sure the diagonal is a diagonal from top left to bottom right, and then do R prime U prime R, and that will make a bar. If it that's not as common as the other cases, which is just the adjacent, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. So if there's a bar here, so if you put the white in the front and then if there's a bar here, you would just put it on the right and then insert it. But what if it's not like that? Well, you would do this. You would put this like this, and then you would do this algorithm. R2U, and then you would continue the algorithm. I'm confusing myself, but R prime U R, and then insert it. But obviously, if that's pretty complicated, so I'm trying to. Another algorithm is like this. So what I just did there is I put these in the front. This is the algorithm I would suggest you. You would do R prime to put the white on the bottom. That only happens if it's if this is red orange, or if this is a red orange case. So if there's red here and orange there, or it could be flip flopped if you're doing green on the bar, but hey, can't stop me. First, you would put this on the bottom right, so with an R prime, U2, to put this in the back right. So and then this is what you should get for 3x3. But if you don't know how to solve a 3x3, you need to know this. So you would do R prime, which is just R prime, and then you would move this to the front. You would move this to the front left, and then R to put this back up, U to put this in, and then just R prime to solve it. So you would get the first layer. Next, you would solve the second layer with some algorithms. The most common way people will solve second layer is with SUNS, because you only need to memorize one algorithm. But I suggest learning more algorithms. So first is this case. It's the 2 bars, and then 2 are facing parallel directions, or they're just facing left. Put the 2 solved on the right, and then the 2 facing one direction on the left, and then just do F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And this will solve the top layer, and occasionally you will get a solved around. You would get a solved around everything. So what if it's this case? Well, for this case, you would do. For this case, we're the same thing, but instead of they're facing parallel directions, they're facing opposite directions. You would do R prime U prime, which is the first 4 moves is the middle 4 moves of the first algorithm I showed you. And then you would do a sledgehammer, which goes like this: R prime F R F prime, and this will solve the entire top layer. Those are the case, and there's one more case I need to show you. So this case, this is the final case that could happen if there's 2 up facing up. This is the final case that will show up. It's the diagonal version. If there's the diagonal, make sure it's diagonal from front right to front left. I mean top left to bottom right. and then make sure the yellow is facing the bottom. If you is facing down on the left side, and in the back it's facing the right side. It's facing this way. But an easier to predict this case is just to see if it's facing front on your left side. So this piece will be pointing at you. And then you would do this algorithm: F R U prime U prime R prime U prime R U R prime F prime. Obviously, these are not precise finger tricks. I'm just trying to show you the cases. So, yeah. So, that's how you solve, that case. Next, we have the cases where you have 0 pieces solved. So for this case, where it's 2 are facing one side and 2 are facing opposites, put the opposites on the right and then the parallel on the left, and then just do the first algorithm, but twice. But the middle 4 but you do the middle 4 moves twice, so in a row. So and then it will solve the top case. So what it would look like is F R U R prime U prime R U R prime U prime F prime. And then this is what it looks like fast. There's a few more cases. There is the case where there are 2 parallels. You can also see it as 2 opposites, but it's mainly just 2 parallels. But for it to work, you want the top colored pieces, or yellow, to be facing you, and then that's how and then you just do this algorithm, which is also pretty intuitive. F, the middle, the 4 moves 3 times though, and then you would solve it. So this is what it looks like fast. And then that is, I think, all the cases you can get for 0 pieces on top. Lastly, we have the 1 pieces. 1 pieces are needed to be solved. So for this case, if it's going in a if you start at the bottom right, if it goes in a start in the front left, it goes in a clockwise direction, you would do this algorithm, which is R U R prime U R U2 R prime. And then for the opposite, what if it's this case? You would put in the front, if it's counterclockwise, you put in the front and it goes counterclockwise. You would put this in the back right. So front left, back right is a pretty easy way. And then you would do R U2 R prime U R R U prime R prime. So this is, and then now we have an entire top layer solved. And then next up there is 2 cases you can get for final alg. First case is this case, where there's 1 bar solved but the other is not. For this case, you would do a T-perm, or R U R prime U prime R prime F F R2 U prime R prime U prime R U R F prime. And then for the diagonal swap, if there's no blocks, you would just do Y perm, which is F R U R prime U prime R U R prime F prime. And then you would do R U R prime U prime R prime F F F R F prime. If you looked closely at the Y perm algorithm, it looks like you're just doing this algorithm. It looks like you're just doing two OLL algorithms at once, which is and you're exactly correct. You're doing this OLL algorithm, and then you would solve this case normally. And technically, for the adjacent swap, it's the same thing. You would do this algorithm, and then you would solve this case, which would get the. But you might realize that's not the exact algorithm that I showed you. Because if you're doing this, if you're doing an F and then F prime right back to back, you don't need to do those moves, and then you can just resume with the algorithm. So that's how you solve a 2x2. But if you got confused on the last layer, don't worry. I'll show you another way. Don't worry, I'll show you another way. If you got confused on last layer, like you don't get the algorithms and what they do, there's always the option to go back and then check what you're doing. So what I recommend is just to drill these algorithms until the and then you can get used to them exactly. This is how I learned many puzzles. So yeah. That's how I learned. That's how you solve a 2x2. If you got confused, please let me know. And I'll see you in the next one. 2x2